Once upon a time, in a remote corner of the forest, where the breeze gently brushed the trees and the bird song filled the air with peace, there lived a little mouse named Rowan. Though he was tiny, his heart was full of courage. Rowan lived happily in his burrow with his wife Ilara and their 3 little children, Mika, Noah, and Leah. Their home was hidden among the roots of a great tree, clean, tidy, warm, and full of love. Their main source of food was a special kind of almond that grew in that land, and for years it had given them enough to live in quiet comfort. He was a good family man, always present for his children. A faithful, loving husband who cared for his companion with devotion. His family never went hungry because he was diligent and hardworking, and every day he went out to gather food with effort and joy. But beyond all that, Rowan was a creature of deep faith in God. Every important decision, every step, he placed before him in prayer. He knew that even though he was small in this world, his heart rested in the hands of something far greater. Many miles away, in the wildest, most lush part of another land overflowing with abundance, lived an imposing lion named King Aziel. Strong, respected, and feared by all. He was the king of his territory, leader of his pride, and a symbol of power. His roar alone could silence everything. Yet though powerful, he carried his leadership with dignity and firmness. All the animals knew that crossing his domain without permission was tempting fate. But that lion did not act with cruelty. He lived by principles. Both animals lived in different worlds, one small, quiet, and humble, where each day was a chance to give thanks for what little one had, the other vast, wild, and powerful, where order was ruled by strength and respect. Rowan walked among roots and fallen branches. King Aziel walked among mountains and towering trees. One ate almonds with his little ones at sunset. The other devoured his prey beneath the open sky, surrounded by his pride. Their lives had never crossed, and no one could have imagined that one day they would. Each one followed his routine in his own world, with his own struggles and joys, until one day scarcity knocked on the wrong door. A long and cruel drought struck Rowan's land. The streams dried up, the leaves began to wither, and worst of all, the almond trees, their only source of food, started dying slowly. The sky that once blessed the earth with soft, steady rains now stayed dry and unmoving, as if it had forgotten that corner of the forest. The ground cracked. The air grew heavy and dusty. The sounds of the forest faded. No longer could you hear the murmur of water or the joyful song of birds at dawn. Rowan went out every day, hoping to find fresh almonds, but he found only a few. Everything else was dry branches and rotten fruit. He stored what little he could in his small pack and returned home with a forced smile, not to deceive, but out of love. Worried for his family, Rowan tried to stay strong in front of his children. But every night, when everything went quiet, sadness overcame him in silence. One night, when the moon barely lit the forest with pale light, Rowan couldn't sleep. With silent steps, he left his burrow, careful not to wake Ilara or the little ones. He walked through the withered forest until he reached the edge of the clearing, where the fullest almond tree in their land had once stood. That tree had been a symbol of life and provision, but now, like the others, it was dry, its branches twisted and its leaves fallen. Yet something caught his attention. A single almond hung alone from a high branch, small, wrinkled, but still holding on. Rowan climbed to the top with effort, not to take the fruit, but because that tree had witnessed many blessings in the past, and he needed more than food. He needed an answer. He sat on one of the highest branches, eyes lifted to the sky. A heavy uncertainty pressed against his chest as he wondered, what if tomorrow I find nothing to give my family? Though he had been diligent and had gathered almonds, little by little they were running out, and he needed a solution. The forest was silent, and there, moved by faith, with the starry sky as his only witness, he raised a prayer to heaven. God, I don't ask for riches or power. I only ask for a way out, a sign. Don't let my children or my wife go hungry. You know I am the provider for my family. I don't know what else to do. You know how much I love them, and how it would break me to see them suffer while I'm unable to protect them. His words dissolved into the night wind. The forest remained still. Everything felt paused, as if the entire universe were listening to the prayer of a small creature who refused to give up. The silence was deep, until something unexpected happened. From high in the sky, an old and wise dove named Seraphine descended with difficulty. Her wings were tired. Her body trembled from exhaustion. She had been flying for days. She landed right on the branch where Rowan sat. Startled, Rowan hid his sorrow and greeted her with joy. "Welcome, ma'am. Are you all right?" The dove, who had been watching him closely, said nothing about his pain. She only asked for a little food and water. "What little I have, I share with joy," Rowan said humbly. He led her to his burrow, where Alara cared for her kindly. They offered her dry bread, a few almonds they still had, and rainwater they had managed to collect. When she finished, Seraphine said, "Thank you, little friend. May God repay your kindness." Before leaving, the dove looked at him intently and said, "You gave with joy, but your heart is wounded. What's wrong?" With tears held back, Rowan explained the harsh reality, the drought, the loss of the almond trees, and the fear of not being able to feed his family. The dove stayed quiet for a moment, then spoke with wisdom. "On my journey, I passed through a faraway place, the territory of an imposing lion, feared in his kingdom. I rested there for a few days. There is abundance there, water, shade, and healthy almond trees overflowing with fruit." Rowan's face lit up. For the first time in a long time, his eyes stopped reflecting anguish and began to shine with a spark of hope. Her words were like fresh water in the middle of a desert. Rowan felt that God had answered his prayer through that wise, timely visitor. "Can you tell me how to reach the lion's territory?" he asked with emotion. The dove nodded slowly, but worry filled her eyes. "I can," she replied, "but you must understand, it won't be easy. You'll cross unknown places, hidden dangers, and lands where many do not dare enter. And if you reach it, you will be in the lion's lands, powerful, unpredictable, feared. I cannot promise you will return alive." Rowan lowered his gaze for a moment. He thought of Alara, of his children's innocent little eyes. And then he answered firmly, "If it's for them, I'm willing to take any risk." With tenderness, Seraphine pulled from her small satchel a rolled piece of bark, a rough map drawn with plant ink. "This path isn't marked on trees or on the ground, only on this map and in your heart. Follow it carefully. But more important than anything, follow the voice guiding you inside." The dove looked at him one last time. "Thank you for your hospitality. May God guard every step of your journey." And without another word, she took flight in silence, leaving behind a trail of calm and a clear mission burning in the heart of the little mouse. That night, inside the burrow, his heart ignited with hope, Rowan told Alara everything the dove had revealed. She listened in silence, her eyes full of fear, but also full of faith. She knew her husband wasn't only brave, he was guided by love and faith. They prayed together before sleeping and held their children tighter than usual. At dawn, Rowan prepared to leave, a small pack on his shoulder, carrying a few almonds and a little water. He approached Alara and looked at her tenderly. "Take care of the children. Let them eat the almonds slowly until I return. I promise I'll come back and bring enough food for everyone." She nodded, holding back tears. Rowan looked at them one last time. He took a deep breath and, without looking back, set off into the unknown. Rowan walked for several days, moving through dry branches, roots, stones, and shadows. He was guided by two things: his faith in God and the map Seraphine had entrusted to him. Every step took him farther from home, but closer to hope. He passed through narrow paths, crossed thorny brush, and avoided the sounds of predators. His body grew tired, but his heart stayed steady. At sunset, he stopped to rest under the shade of an old tree. He sat in silence, ate an almond, drank a sip of water, and gave thanks for being alive. That's when a zebra named Zuri, grazing nearby, spotted him and approached with curiosity. "And what are you doing so far from your burrow, little one?" Rowan lifted his gaze, panting but determined. "I'm going to the lion's territory. My family needs food, and there are almonds there in abundance." Zuri's eyes widened in disbelief. "To the lion's territory? You're out of your mind. Do you want to become his snack?" Rowan smiled calmly. "Maybe, but I'd rather risk my life than watch the ones I love die of hunger." The zebra said nothing else, only looked at him with respect and walked away. Rowan stood up, looked again at the map, and kept going. At last, after many days of travel, the map led him to the place. Before him stretched a landscape completely different from the one he had left behind. A lush land filled with green vegetation, wildflowers, and trees heavy with almonds, hanging like golden treasures in the foliage. The air was cooler, and the murmur of water could once again be heard between the stones. Rowan, eyes wide, couldn't hold back emotion. For a moment, he felt the journey had been worth it. But that calm didn't last long. A crackle in the bushes alerted him. Then another, and another. 3 hyenas stepped out of the shadows, slowly surrounding him with crooked smiles and hungry eyes. "Well, what do we have here?" one mocked. "A little mouse, lost. Right on time for our snack." "Did he come alone?" another added. "Or did someone send him as a gift?" Rowan took a step back, his heart pounding hard. "Please, I'm only looking for food for my family. I don't want trouble." The hyenas laughed with contempt. "Then you came to the wrong place. The weak don't survive here." And just as one of them was about to lunge, a thunderous roar shook the air. The hyenas froze instantly. From between the trees appeared the lion, imposing, majestic. His burning eyes locked on them. "Get out of my territory!" he roared with fury. The hyenas didn't think twice. They ran away in terror. Rowan stood there, frozen. He had escaped one danger, only to fall into another, even greater. The lion approached slowly, his steps firm. He stopped right in front of the trembling mouse and stared down at him. So small, so insignificant beneath his paws. "What are you doing in my domain?" the lion asked, his voice firm. Rowan swallowed, shaking. Before he could answer, the lion raised one enormous paw and said, "Do you know that with a single swipe, I could crush you?" Rowan, afraid but brave, lifted his eyes. His words came with respect and humility. "I know, Your Majesty, and if that is your decision, I will accept it. But I beg you, listen to my words before you do." The lion kept his gaze fixed, curious at the boldness of such a tiny visitor. I'm not here to offend you or invade your land. I came because my family is starving. Drought destroyed our territory, and the almond trees have dried up. I have a wife and 3 children. They don't have much time left. I came because I was told of the abundance of this place, and I'm willing to risk my life to save theirs." The lion did not respond right away. He watched Rowan in silence, as if measuring the heart of that tiny creature who, against all logic, had dared to come, not for himself, but for love. "I beg you to spare my life, and if possible, allow me to take some almonds. I don't need many, only enough to survive a few more days." The silence thickened for a moment, until the lion lowered his paw gently. "You are brave, Mouse, and you are sincere. You may take as many almonds as you need, and then return to your family." Rowan couldn't believe it. "Thank you, Your Majesty. May life reward you for your mercy." The lion nodded with dignity and disappeared among the trees, leaving Rowan in peace. And so Rowan gathered the almonds with gratitude in his heart and began the journey back home, tired but unharmed, his paws aching, but his soul at peace. God had protected him every step, and now his effort had meaning. When he arrived, Elara hugged him with tears in her eyes, and the children ran to meet him. His family could smile again. Now they had enough food to endure the drought. Rowan looked up to the sky and thanked God, knowing he had fulfilled his mission. Days passed, and Rowan enjoyed the food he had brought with his family. Their home was peaceful, and they felt gratitude with every meal. Rowan thought the worst was over. He believed that journey had been the end of the trial. But what he didn't know was that life would cross his path with the lion again. And this time, Rowan would have the chance to return the favor, and life would reward him in a very special way. Meanwhile, King Aziel decided to leave his territory to expand it. He traveled for several days, crossing forests and unknown zones, until he entered a region marked by drought. It was Rowan's land. What the lion didn't know was that this place had once been visited by hunters long ago, and some of their traps were still hidden among the leaves and the dry weeds. That afternoon, as he moved through the brittle trees, he stepped on a rope buried beneath the ground. In an instant, a thick net snapped tight and hoisted him into the air, leaving him hanging from a high branch. The lion roared desperately, not in fury, but in fear. He knew that if humans returned, his fate would be sealed. A long, terrifying night passed, far from his pride, hanging and defenseless, trapped in that net. But down in Rowan's burrow, everything was quiet. The lion's roars weren't heard there because the burrow was underground, and its walls of roots and clay muffled every sound. At dawn, Rowan surfaced, walked a few steps, and that's when he heard a weak, broken roar, different from any he had heard before. It wasn't a threat, it was pain and desperation. Intrigued, his heart pounding, Rowan decided to investigate. He pushed through the dry brush, and when he reached a clearing, he froze. He saw him. The lion who had saved him from the hyenas, who had also spared his life, was now trapped, hanging, and vulnerable. Without hesitation, the brave little mouse ran toward him. "Your Majesty, is that you?" Rowan cried out, shocked to see the mighty king in such desperate condition. For a moment, Rowan remembered how that lion, who could have ended his life, had spared him without asking for anything in return. And then Rowan understood. It was time to repay that act of kindness. He climbed the tree with agility, reached the net, and with his small but sharp teeth began to bite through the ropes with determination, one by one, until finally the net broke and the lion fell to the ground, free at last. Still stunned, the lion rose slowly. You saved my life. You so small, yet with a heart so huge. I am deeply grateful," the lion said. "And as a reward, I offer that you come live with your family in my territory. There is abundance there, and I will protect you. No one will dare harm you." From that day on, Rowan and his family moved near the lion, and against all odds, a powerful king and a tiny mouse became great friends. And so, both were blessed. The lion saved the mouse from the hyenas and spared his life. And later, the mouse also saved the lion's life and was rewarded, proving that good deeds, sooner or later, are repaid. If you've made it to the end of this video, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share it. Help this video reach even farther. And remember, on your screen, there are more motivational stories waiting for you to change your life. Thank you for making it to the end. See you in the next one.